All right, so let's show you kind of what my setup is here. So this is a typical shoulder stake that I'm putting in. So I write on there a fill of plus 0.11, that's in meters. And then I put an orange ribbon at where the top of the next layer is supposed to be. Down on the side of the road, we call this toe stake. So this is a 3-to-1 slope on this job. So what I do is I use my handy dandy GPS here and the real brains of the operation. And we stake out to the line that is the design of the shoulder for this layer of fill. And you can see there, grade to poly line, 33.3%, more or less. So that's 3-to-1 slope, is 33.33%. And then I get my fill to that stake up there. So we write on there, fill 0.92. And that tells them, when they're building this, that from that stake down there, they're going to have to come up about 92 cents or 92 centimeters at a 3-to-1 slope. So a skilled CAD operator, he can do that kind of just eyeballing it, and he'll be pretty bang on within 20 centimeters or so. And then they come in and do some final staking. So we put those toe stakes in first, and then they came up here and they kind of built it. And now I'm starting to put in these shoulder stakes. And as you can see, they weren't too far off here. They missed it by just a little bit, and their slope's looking pretty good and consistent. So I'd say they've done a good job. So that's about all I want to show you about the actual work part here. Thought I might as well show you a little bit of the so-called scenery and landscape that is Inuvik. So right now we're on the Dempster Highway, just south of the town of Inuvik. And as you can see, it's pretty flat in this area. So we're right near the MacKenzie Delta. There's a lot of water everywhere. You're not going to necessarily see all that water from the highway. That's because they want to pick the high ground where it's fairly dry and the ground's a bit more stable to build the highway. But as you're driving up and down, you do see lots of little small bodies of water all over the place, not too far from the road. The trees here, we're August 29th today, so fall has already come. I've seen a significant change already just in the 6 days I've been up here. You can see as the color is starting to change a bit more, there's a lot more yellow in the trees. So the majority of these trees are going to only turn yellow. That's the only fall color they know before they lose their leaves. And of course our evergreen trees, they're not going to. Now here, these trees, they're pretty small, they're pretty stunted because it's very, very cold, short growing season. So the general thing that people do to figure out the age of a tree is they count the rings. So, you can see right from the center of the tree, that's already maybe 10 years of growth, about another 20. And then these frickin' buggers, they get so close together, I can't even figure out how to keep counting them. So, it's pretty hard to figure out exactly how old this tree is, but it's pretty darn old compared to when you're further down south. They grow a lot faster. This stump here, this tree grew a little bit faster. It's not looking too bad, but even still, like we look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 years of growth between my fingers right there. So, this tree, it's looking like this tree is well over 60 years old, maybe even more. So, and as you can see, oh, let's change that focus. So as you can see, that tree over there, it really ain't too tall. I would say that tree is about a 2-story house at most. So yeah, I would say it's about a 2-story house. You got a little bit of a peak on the roof. That's what that would be. A lot of the vegetation here is pretty basic. With the way the weather is, doesn't grow too much. The soil's actually not too horrible, but they got what's known as permafrost here. So you dig down a little ways. I'm not sure exactly how far, if it's just a couple feet or a foot, maybe a meter. And the ground's just frozen solid. And they want to leave as much of this ground above it undisturbed because as soon as you start cutting into that permafrost, it's no longer insulated by the ground above, and it's going to melt. So that's a bit of a big problem.